Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in on this Tuesday afternoon. My topic today is about the stimulus check and also the unemployment and the explanation of why the unemployment should stay at $600. Okay, first of all, thank you for tuning in, and please click like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be coming back with more good topics, real news talk. Um, the stimulus check is coming. Everyone knows that it is $1,200, even though everyone thought perhaps it would be more because the president did say it was going to be generous. So I guess when he said it was going to be generous, he must have meant because the other parts are going into other things, such as things for the schools, for the frontline workers, so forth and so on. But most people were thinking when he said it's going to be a great stimulus. So everyone was thinking perhaps it could have been like 2,500 per person. Actually, my thought is that it should have been $2,500 per month per household during the pandemic because many people have lost their jobs. Many people are afraid to go to work, or even if they did go to work, there is no work for them. So, guess what? They get laid off again. On the when they said they would offer $200, the Republicans, $200 per person, that's not going to hit it. And the reason why is because of the fact you have hairstylists. Say, for instance, if they work in a salon and they're only making $8 an hour, but they rely on their tips to bring in the amount of funds that's necessary to handle their household bills and needs. Okay, if they give them $200 and they're only paying them by the unemployment is only paying them by the $8 per hour, what about all of the tip money that they're not receiving? Which means what? They will be cut way short because many of them will get $100 a day in tips. Oftentimes, it's cash tips that many report and many don't report to IRS. So, see, either way it goes, they have to come up with one set price. And because the system is not updated enough to calculate, and even if the system was updated, it still would not be able to determine the people that are on commission because they cannot make the commission that they should make in order to have a complete salary because of the pandemic, and people are not going in as they used to get their hair done. Many stylists just go in for that one client and go home. To whereas before the pandemic, they had a lot of walk-ins where they could make their full week's pay. So if they cut it down, the government cut it down to $200, this is going to hurt a lot of people, including kids and people, young teenagers that have jobs in restaurants, because I understand the waiters and waitresses, they don't make a lot of money. They rely on that tip money, but now that it's a pandemic, people are not going and staying in the restaurant to eat. Most of them are taking their food to go, which means what? Those people on a small salary that rely on the tips are not getting the funds they need to survive. So this is why it's going to take them a long time, and hopefully they will extend it. I think something fair would be at least about 450. At least about 450, but to drop it down to $200 for those people that I mentioned, hair salons, the people rely on tips because you get a small salary in department stores. The salons in the department store pays people commission if they reach a quota of they have to make so much money per week or they're only getting $8 an hour. So how can they make it with $200 on $8 an hour when they rely on at least that $100 a day tip money from each client that they book? And they lost a lot of clients because of the pandemic. So it's just not going to work out with $200. I just don't see it. And it's going to take a long time for them to earn it out, especially when people make tip money. You see? So it also will hurt those people that make tip money. And if they got cash tips and they didn't turn it into IRS, say, for instance, if IRS decided, well, let's look at their last year's taxes, and the stylist and the waitress didn't turn in the cash tips, that's also going to hurt them, especially if they only give a boost of $200 per week. That is just not enough money for people to survive that have house notes, they have their children, they have to do food because they can't get food stamps because of the fact that the monies that they get every week is going to still be make them not qualified to get food stamps. So it's really just a bad situation all the way around. And so they're going to have to put a lot of thought into that, because I feel sorry for those people that are really right now on pins and needles because they don't know which way they're going to be headed. They don't know if they're going to be able to keep their homes. They don't know if they're going to have to move to something less expensive or move to a one-room house or a one-bedroom from a 2 or 3 bedroom. They just don't know. It is really, really something. Another thing is sending kids to school. I know many parents are ready for those kids to leave the house, but I would rather them stay at home than to catch COVID-19 and die, or I die. Because can you imagine a classroom full of children sweating and playing and spitting at each other and pulling off masks and trying on each other's clothes and masks and, oh my God, let me see your pencil, let me sit at your desk, let's switch desks. And the reason I'm saying this, I have a sister who's a retired teacher. She says it's no way. She says it would be horrific. Can you imagine all the kids in one school, each school? She told me, she says it scared her a lot of days when she would go like to the cafeteria, or they would have some type of gathering in the auditorium or something, and to see these kids, she said they come out of nowhere, just hundreds and hundreds of kids. It would be devastating for a mass amount of kids in school that contract the virus and pass it on to their parents, their mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, and then those people that don't know they have it pass it on to others out here in society. No, I wouldn't send my kid to school. And I'm really glad that most, I think the HISD and other school districts have decided to do the online. I would do the online and just see where this stuff goes, because right now nobody knows. But at least my mother used to say, if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out trying. So kudos to the parents that are protecting their children. At least they're trying, even if something happened or someone got it. I mean, at least a parent can say, well, I did everything I could to save my child's life because I did not put them in that environment where it's a mass amount of people. And the entire situation is about crowds on beaches, crowds in clubs. Well, what do you think about the crowds at school? Those crowds at school are far more larger than crowds anywhere else. With all of these children in schools all over the world, everywhere, it is just really, really something. So no, I would not send my kids to school, even with masks on, because many people have done everything, and you read about it and you see it on TV, even celebrities. Oh, I wore my mask, I wore my gloves, I did everything possible, and I still caught COVID-19. And also yesterday I was speaking with a girlfriend of mine in California who used to work at my business, and she said her grandson in Houston had contracted the virus. And another girl I know up in Tahoe, her son is working in New Mexico, and he possibly contracted it because when a person gets sick and you don't really know what it is, but you got a cold and you have all of those symptoms, that's what it is. Because a lot of people take tests, and the test, for some reason, I don't think it's accurate. I really don't. Because some people said, oh, I took it, and one time it was negative, one time it was positive. And I have a friend who did the same thing, took the test 4 times, negative each and every single time. This one time, he went to, I think, a beach, and they tell you to stay away from the beaches. And this person is very, very, very sharp and very alert and very clean and very careful. But one time, they possibly let their mask down. And actually, that's what he said. He said, I remember where I caught the virus. However, he never tested positive for it. And when he went to the hospital, they didn't diagnose it as that. But it had all of the symptoms. When he had the pain, not the symptoms from he didn't have a temperature, he didn't have a cough, he didn't have a fever, but the excruciating pain, and it hit his lungs, which is where the virus sets in. It caused respiratory problems. And he had 3 blood clots in his lungs and could have died. And only the good Lord saved him. But guess what? Because the hospitals are so overwhelmed with people with COVID-19, they sent him home in less than 24 hours. Unbelievable. With thinners, to thinning out the blood for the blood clots, and antibiotics. Unless they know that you are dying immediately, they're not going to pay you any attention because they're too busy helping serious people that are already on ventilators. Now, they sent him home, but he could have easily went into, a cardiac arrest or anything. But they felt that he wasn't as important as the person on the ventilator who they had to watch. And try and not get sick, you guys. Try and not get sick at a time like this. I have another girlfriend that was in California, and her blood pressure had shot up really high. And so she called her daughter to take her. And guess what? She said it's no joke being in that room all alone. In the room alone, and the nurses, they're not going to come in too close to you because of COVID. And you're just sitting there waiting on someone to help you in your room. And she couldn't have her daughter with her. Nobody can come into the hospital. It's just really bad. And also there was a guy who owned a lot of clubs in Houston. And it was so sad when I saw it on Facebook that he was in that room and all of the doctors had all of the spaceship type stuff. That's kind of scary. That's kind of scary. I'm a very sensitive person, and when I saw it, it really spooked me out. That, can you imagine dying alone because you can't have your family members with you? And to top it off, all of these people make you feel like you are dirty or nasty, or they don't want to touch you, or they stand back from you. Wow, what is this world coming to? And I know how he felt, because I feel like that even just walk into the store and somebody bag away from me, or they feel like that when I bag away from them, because I really bag away, and I don't want anybody crowding my space during this time of COVID-19. That has happened many times when you go to the store and someone, you're in line and someone just tries to jump in front of you and put their vibes and energies, and don't let them cough. Mask or not, I don't want anybody sneezing around me, period. Because we really don't know if the masks are protecting us like they say. They've said so many things. And the only thing that can help us is God Almighty. God Almighty, because this is something no one that's living now in our age bracket, or even the younger people, have ever seen. But I do know one person that saw something similar, and she's 103 years old in California, and actually it's my girlfriend's great aunt, and she was there when they had the Spanish flu, and she told her she was right there, and it was the same situation of what's going on now. She said, I've seen this before. I've seen this before. I remember this. I remember this. I remember my parents going through this. I remember this. So you see, she was able to live through it. So many people are gone, but hopefully we'll be able to survive this madness that's going on right now. And only God can save us, you guys. So what I say to everybody, just be careful, wash your hands, and another thing, that cross-contamination, you guys, wearing those gloves, be careful. Because even though you have on gloves, don't think that's protection all the way, because if you touch something with the gloves, say for instance you have on gloves and you went into the gym and you worked out and you touched a machine that was contaminated. Okay, so then when you leave the gym, you still have on your gloves and you get in your car and you touch your steering wheel. Well, the virus have jumped from your gloves to your steering wheel. So actually, you take your gloves off and sanitize your gloves, even in the gym, as much as you can, your gloves, just as if you would do your hands. Because a lot of people hide behind those gloves. And I'm a licensed skin specialist. And I did a class on Barbicide for sanitation for this COVID-19, just specifically for COVID-19. And that cross-contamination with those gloves, you have to take them off a certain way. You have to be careful with those gloves. Also with your mask. Another thing I've noticed, a lot of people wear the mask down on their chin. Say, for instance, I guess if they can't breathe or whatever, they'll pull them down under their chin just so they don't have to keep grabbing it or going in their purse to pick up the mask. Well, the mask could have, when you put it under your chin, that outside can kind of be flipped inside. So the germ from the outside can get on your face and right into your mouth because you're pulling it back up over your mouth. So you have to pray, because the gloves are they're not protecting you 100. The mask is not protecting you 100. So guess what? The only protection we have really is God, and use our 5 senses to the best of our knowledge. And again, like I said, on that unemployment, for those people that are only making $8 an hour because they rely on commission and tip money, the government cannot calculate that for them. They can't. They really can't. So they would have to set aside and see all of the people that are on tip money and all of the people that rely on commissions. Oh my God, that would be so hard for them to, with all these people in the world, to try to manage that. Many people will be underpaid. Many. So $200 is not enough. And I hope that they will decide to at least do $450. That probably would, it's not going to balance them out, especially people that make a lot of money doing hair, but it will keep them afloat until things pick up. But you know what, you guys? I really don't think that it'll ever be the same again. Really, because say, for instance, if I go out to a restaurant that I frequent, or even a club, a bar, or whatever, because it has been so devastating and so many people have lost their lives, I still would have in the back of my mind a little panic about going, because you don't know who's lingering around with COVID-19. Because remember, they were saying on the news that many people have it and don't know it. So even though they'll say, oh, it's all gone now, it's gone bye-bye. It could be that one person that had lingered around, one person per area. And you go to the same places you used to go, let your hair down, let your guards down, and there it is again. So we just have to pray. And I'm going to end my show, you guys. I just wanted to bring you an update about the COVID-19, the kids staying home, and the unemployment. $200 is not enough for those that work on commission because they can't make the monies that they would have been making prior to the pandemic episode. Thank you for tuning in. Please click like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be coming back with more real topics. Have a nice day. Bye.